as everybody knows, I'm real vocal about tourism at this time. So I asked Ross if it would be possible to share what the Hawaii Visitors Bureau is doing regarding the economic recovery efforts, and also that he's been the one, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ross, but going to the airport doing the official counts of who's coming in from out of state. So I thought it was real important for us to hear from him at this point. So Ross, do you want to just give us a introduction and then go into your presentation?
Sure. I'm going to share my screen here as well. Yeah, it's been quite a wild ride that we've had, especially in tourism. This is, as an overused word, unprecedented, beyond anything we've ever seen from a tourism standpoint. But our number one focus, and as you'll see in my reporting here, the number one focus is the mitigation of COVID-19. We have to get to a complete stopping area before we can start again. So we've redirected a lot of our resources in those efforts to make sure that the safety of our residents is first and foremost as we move forward. We were trending exceptionally well in almost every single category year over year. And then COVID hit. So you can see as we went through January, February into the first 2 weeks of March, this is our total passenger count. And between the 16th of March and the end of the 31st or even the 28th, we were already hitting basically zero arrivals. So domestic really is our largest market. You can see that we were having around 30,000, 25 to 30,000 visitors per day coming into the state at that time. And now they're trickling into about less than 500 visitors. International started a little bit more quickly on the descent. More so from their own issues with COVID in their own countries, Japan, China, Korea. A lot of our international comes from those countries, and it started sliding much earlier. We were hoping that this was truly going to be the only slide that we would really see, but then the U.S. market hopped right in there, and so all arrivals pretty much are flattening out. This is we do a daily update of what the last 7 days are. We've extended it to about a month period now. And you can see from March 21st, we were trending at about 44% of what our normal arrivals were, to finishing at April 19th we were at 1% of the total arrivals we had been receiving last year at the same time. The trend on the hotel performance, much in that same track. You can see over the month of March, the drop from very good occupancies and revenues to a current state of the week between April 5th and 11th. Our island showed a occupancy percentage of 8.2%, average daily rate of $120, and which equates to a revenue per occupied room of $9.88 is where we were last week, and that's actually probably dropped even more within the last 10 days. Unemployment has almost done the reversal as the hotels have been closing down and they've been shutting down their reservations. Unemployment has jumped up in the exact opposite direction. So there's a very direct correlation between our hotels and the amount of jobs we have available for the individuals on island. From an airline standpoint, we basically have lost all direct airlift into the island, except for Delta is currently flying 4 times per week. So we went from the end of February having 115 or 114, 642 direct seats coming into Kona, down to the month of April, we'll probably end up with 15 to 1600 direct seats coming in from the mainland. That's not a bad thing. That's the good thing. We needed to get it to a bare minimum at tops. On an inter-island basis, we've got 7 daily Honolulu with Hawaiian. We've got 1 to Maui. We've got Southwest that kind of does the circle. They're doing from Kona to Honolulu, back to Kona to Maui, then to Honolulu. So they're doing some rotation on their flights there. So we've got about 2 flights on Southwest a day. And then I mentioned the 1 direct flight on Delta 4 times a week. Into Hilo, there's still 5 daily flights, round trip to Honolulu, and 2 daily flights on Southwest. United Airlines had canceled back on March 20th. So the numbers you see for Hilo were what we're trending after February. As of today, there's 0 direct flights coming from the US mainland. From the cruise ship standpoint, that was one of the industries that really took a beating early on, and probably will continue to take a beating as we go through this. This is just a statement that came from the CDC and what their precautions are as they move forward with the cruise line industry, and what they're going to need to put in place and have in order before they can resume full operations. So we're not anticipating any of this to be really completed by the cruise lines until late July. Prognostication, these are just some of and these are really my personal feelings based off of a lot of the information we're getting, a lot of the conversations I'm having throughout the country and throughout the world with different contacts I have. It really looks like the drive-to destinations will probably be the very first in travel to recover. The travelers will be attracted to less congested destinations, and it sounds like many of them will be avoiding the larger city or city centers. Locations with lesser COVID-19 cases and strong processes in place will definitely do better as well. And then, as mentioned in the reporting, the precautions in place at the airports and airlines, as well as hotels, will play a critical part in moving that. And then for our island specific, our island hotels remain closed at least through the end of May. Most will start to open slowly June 1st or thereabouts shortly after, mainly just ramping up, getting employees back in, getting some training done, getting some things set, and being available for any reservations that are still on the books for the July time period. In talking with those hotels, the previous bookings we had for July through the rest of the year are still strong, and they're still in place. We haven't seen a whole lot of cancellations beyond that time period. And the groups we had that were scheduled for March, April, May time periods are going to be moving to the fall. Many of them have rebooked, and a lot of them have moved into earlier parts of 2021. The airline's going to ramp up very slowly. We see this. I was actually very positive about the CARES Act in the very beginning, because that was going to stipulate that airlines needed to fly to the destinations they were already currently serving and bring a certain percentage back into place. Most of our airlines have actually received an exemption of the CARES Act for Kona, Lihue, and Kahului. So it looks like they are going to be trending to flying into Oahu for the most part as they ramp up. Some may start doing very small service to Kona, and Hilo would be part of that as well. United will probably come in very slowly. And then the initial price points we have for airfare and accommodations will need to be very competitive once everything starts ramping up, should we start competing against other destinations. But our travel demand is still very strong, including Hawaii as a destination. I think with all things in place, our island specifically, the size of it, the ability to social distance, and then also working with our partners as we move forward here to create experiences that will allow the social distancing, and then also promoting small group activities, anything between 4 to 6 people, more customized activities or offerings, I think will help us kind of bring things back a little bit at a faster pace.
And appreciate the information. And I just wanted to say a shout out to the Hawaii Tourism Authority for funding the Hotels for Heroes, and also to those hotels who have agreed to participate in that program. Really appreciate it, because what that means is if they're open, then we have employees there, and that's great. So talking about employees rolling out, you talk about rolling it out and how do we bring tourism back. I'm hoping that you're talking also about how you roll it out, and I would hope that it would be, trying to secure rooms at hotels versus marketing more vacation rentals, because the hotels is where employees need to be back at work so they can feed their families and, support their families. So I'm hoping that your committee is thinking about that as well.
Yeah, that's almost a little bit out of our hands there, but that's a great subject you bring up. Is in order to bring employees back to work, we need to bring hotels that employ those workers. We need to bring back the jobs first, and if we can bring hotels back online and maybe hesitate a little bit in our bringing back the vacation rentals market, and slow that process a little, I think we're going to get workers back in place a lot quicker. On that way, get occupancies a little bit higher at the hotels. And then as the occupancies grow, they start bringing back more and more workers.
Yeah, thank you.